There was kind of like a magic brewing, I think.
How long ago was this?
2 years ago, we were in Nashville.
It was after that. Then it
Nashville.
must have been about a year and a half ago that we
okay.
ran the 50 pants for 50 people, because we did an additional proto and then we started doing multiples. So yeah, a year and a half ago.
But like the excitement that started to build up, like when people, hey, I heard you're making a pant for your landscaping. That is so cool. You know, I don't do landscaping. I do something else, you know, or my sister or my girlfriend. And, you know, I hear her complain all the time. Do you think that she could get in on this pant thing? And even the men were like, oh my gosh, that is such a great idea. I hear my wife or my girlfriend or my sister, you know, she's not a landscaper and she's not this. She does this whole other, she's, you know, a plumber or a drywall. I mean, it's just like all these things that we hadn't even thought of, or a field scientist. And she wants pants. And it was like, it almost became its own thing. Like it started to be something much larger than Kate, Sarah, and Kyle making a little gardening pant. It was like, something is going on here. We just tapped into a major artery of something that is missing that women need and want.
People are fascinating, especially up close. More especially when you get them talking about the things that they love. This is From the Hip, conversations in the service of passion, purpose, and play. I'm Adrianne Gunn. You ready to play? Today on From the Hip, I sit with the founders of Moxie Moss Workwear for Women, who endeavored to, for the love of God, give women fashionable work pants that have pockets. I kid you not, pockets that women can have in their own pants that they can work in. What?
Okay, so sometimes I start moments by like reminding myself what day of the week it is.
Let me know.
Right? Okay, hold on. I'm pretty sure it's Wednesday.
But can you say what date it is?
Oh,
We just did 11/22.
Oh, good job.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but the way that I do my entrepreneurial world, all of the days are work days. And somewhere I do like a mantra, like it's Wednesday, and I say Happy Wednesday to people so that I remember.
That's good. That's
What the
good.
heck?
That's some good advice. I've been floundering. I don't think I really keep dates or numbers that well in my head in general. And then, yes, being in this zone lately with so many things in my head, the calendar's long gone. Except for deadlines, I guess. But even then, I'm like, oh, I just know I have a deadline, and it's like an innate feeling and not based on that day or that number.
Yeah.
Don't know what day it is usually.
Well, and it's funny because there are some people, some humans that live in a world where like the day of the week is a thing that they know about.
Organizing.
And so I like bumped into my dad and I was like, I have no idea what day it is. And he's like, what are you talking like?
It made him uncomfortable.
Yeah, like pooped in his world or something.
Right,
It's like, what are you talking about? How is that possible?
He couldn't conceptualize that you wouldn't know.
Right,
Yeah.
because they're all the days that I'm doing stuff.
Yeah.
I don't. So we do have an audience peeking at us, and we're practically all of us wearing the same pants.
It's true.
One of these things is not like the other.
Well, it's similar, different color.
Yeah.
So I'm excited.
And mine is an early proto, and some of the rivets are missing.
Oh, yeah, well worn. Mine are.
And she doesn't wash hers ever. So she's got the most interesting character. That's if you really love your denim,
Yes.
and you want to honor it and you want to make it yours, you don't wash it. And Kyle and I, because of our background, I think partially, and also because we're not steeped in the culture as much as Sarah has been forever in denim and its interesting qualities, we wash ours more, but Sarah never washes hers, and she has these beautiful, it has a lot of character as a result.
Nice. I heard a rumor about pants washing, so it makes some sense to introduce. So these three are the amazing founders of Moxie Moss Workwear. Is that amazing?
Yeah.
And I'm super excited. I was on the way I'm driving over and I'm thinking about what I might ask. And there's almost no way to talk about women's work pants without maybe getting like a smidge political-ish about women in the workplace. And I was like, so our season this last year has been fairly political for a lot of people, a lot of conversations. And in the past, before I was like forced to get into these conversations, I would just say the only thing that I'm like picketing and marching for pockets. For the love of God.
We'll have to remember that.
I just want to be able to put my hands in my gosh darn pants and put other stuff in there. And so literally I would yell about this on Facebook every couple of months, and a friend of mine posted your, and I don't know if it was like an Indiegogo or a start, something early in the process, maybe a year or two ago, your pants, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's gonna happen.
That.
Yeah.
That's a cool connection point.
Yeah, so I don't know, like, I know we met recently, maybe a couple weeks ago, when I got to fit these pants. And I think you were the first person I talked to in that.
we were doing our back and forth through email.
Yeah.
And then you came down to the office and we got you fitted, and there was a lot going on that day.
Right.
So you actually cycled through the three of us.
Yeah,
I think
that's
you
true.
and I started, and then I had to get into a meeting, and I was like, Sarah, you gotta go help Adrianne. And Sarah came in, and then I think Kate followed up with you, and you went through the whole cycle, and we
Went through the whole
had
cycle.
very good bathroom conversations, because that's where we tried on.
Yeah, you had just gotten back from some expo or something?
Oh yeah,
Chicago.
Women in Trades, Chicago,
National convention.
Women Build Nations.
Yeah, well, so I bugged someone on Instagram, like, oh my gosh, these are out. I see the Instagram posts, I want to try them. Because it's not easy to, have pants fit the way you want to. And I was really excited that they actually fit. I could actually try them on because we're in the same town.
Yep.
It was hilarious to be in the bathroom with all of the people that I got to meet that day.
So many. We keep joking that the women down the hall in the office next to us, we have not formally introduced ourselves, and we haven't been there that long, and we have regular fittings.
Right.
So there's all these women trying pants on lately, like all of a sudden.
Just disrobing
and
in
the
the
women in the
bathroom.
next office must just be like, what's changed around here? When did the bathroom become a fitting room?
Yeah.
So
I actually had the idea for you after that experience. Like, it could be hilarious to have like a booth somewhere, but just the feet part there open, so
I
that
like
you can just
the
hear
feet
people
part, yeah.
Right.
like
Yeah.
doing the shimmy to get in it,
yeah.
and then
Around
talking
and-
about the process or
Yeah.
something. Like anybody
Yeah.
who's in the mood to, and then you just have them come out with their first impressions of
that's
work pants that look good and fit
That's
well.
a great idea. Yeah, there's a lot we could capture there. A lot we've missed. in
Yeah.
that.
So that's like a teensy bit about how I got into these pants.
Mm-hmm.
But how do we start talking about how you all got into these pants?
Well, this is a story.
Yeah.
You can start since you're one of the starting points.
I am. Well, let's see. It all started 5 or 6 years ago, I think, where Kate and I met at a school, an elementary school function where our kids were, and I was leaving the PTA board as a volunteer, and Kate was coming on the PTA board. And Sarah, you were somewhere, either coming in on
I think I
somewhere
was
on
the
PTA
president.
board.
That was my
Were
first
you the
year.
president? That was your first year as president, and I was second. Anyways, and Kate said, well, why are you leaving the board? And I said, well, I really have this passion for gardening, and my youngest was going into kindergarten, so I want to take this master gardener class. And she said, I've been thinking about doing that too. And then a glass or two later, we were talking about starting a landscape business together for residences here in Portland, since everything grows so fast and so well. And often people have overgrown shrubs, camellias and rhododendrons, and Kate and I love to prune those and like to kind of modernize landscapes, and we'd run out of room in our own yards, and we'd run out of plant budget. So we thought, wouldn't it be great if other people gave us money to plant in their yards,
Right.
and then we would have money for plants that we'll just find space for in our own yards. And so we were just really excited to go on this adventure that was kind of entrepreneurial, but also creative and outside and landscaping. So
Right.
we quickly delved into that. I think our second meeting, we were writing the state and getting our EIN number or
It
something.
was pretty instantaneous. Yeah.
And we did not know each other.
Did
so
not know each other.
we just became like business partners and friends all in the same month.
It's just like one of those times of like true alignment.
Transition,
Yeah, we
too.
could tell that we really liked each other. We're different and complementary. Our energies are really good together, and we had such a big passion for gardening. And everything Kyle just said, like there was really nothing left to do in our own yards. And I kept thinking to myself, as I spent every spare moment, even though I had tiny children and I should have been doing other things, like
Yeah.
I should probably get paid for this because I'm spending all my time. And so,
Right.
yeah,
Or like
it
the
just-
thing of like getting paid for doing something that you love.
Right.
You
Yeah,
know,
so it
and
was
we-
ripe. The idea
it
was ripe, and then that conversation was really pretty important because it launched a whole phase of our lives that have taken these incredible turns. And
Right.
it was that conversation that was like, oh yeah, let's go do this. I would never have done it alone.
Sure.
So it was the conversation with Kyle that was like, oh, I could do this with someone by my side, and she thinks about things differently, and I'm really collaborative.
Yeah.
So that appealed, and we just kind of riffed on it from there.
So energetically, there's this like itchy fingers to plant stuff, touch gardening things.
Yep.
It's like, and you love it.
Totally.
So you're like, oh no, I've run out of space.
Yeah,
I have
right.
this.
It's all frustrating. Like,
Was
what do
it-
I do now?
Was it that
It was
delicious
that-
and compelling? It was like, I have to make
But it
more
was
friends.
also like almost this sisterhood of, you're like me. You want to do what I want
get
to
it.
do. You want to
Yeah.
be physical. You want to be outside. You don't mind getting dirt under your fingernails. And you have an aesthetic and you have a creative thing and a drive for, doing more than the status quo of our day in, day out lives. And so we had that fun too.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yes.
So how was the momentum with that business?
It was great. It had
Fast
a lot
and
of
furious?
momentum.
Yeah.
Sarah got rolled up into that momentum pretty quickly, and that's where that connection came from. Sarah was one of our first clients, actually. We've worked on multiple yards for her. And as we got to, and we're pretty conversational in general, and our landscaping clients were often friends and people in our community, and Sarah was there. And so we would have conversations with her in many capacities and got to know her better, and started to realize that even though she does a tremendous amount of volunteer work and has many things going on, she also had a consulting business on the side or in the middle of the night and all these crazy hours that she would pull. And she didn't talk about it that much, but she has a really, really long-standing history working in apparel. And so getting to know her in the process of working in her yard and volunteering on lots of things, it kind of started to make sense to me, like, she really has a deep background in apparel and understands this. And I was always saying how frustrated we were with our pants that we would wear in our professional as designers. And so it's a job that's so interesting and fun because you're in a nursery for an hour, you're on site for an hour, you're digging, you're getting dirty, you need technical apparel for that part of it. But then you're also talking to a client and you need to be very professional and make a pitch and put together ideas and communicate and so forth, and it's very interpersonal. And the workwear didn't cross all of those needs.
Heck yeah.
It hit the really functional side, very, very
Sometimes.
basic
Minimally,
function.
yeah.
Men's wear sized for women.
Right.
Kyle often was shopping in the boys department because she couldn't even find women's sizes actually that fit her, and even the features for women were not always up to snuff, as though women wouldn't need as technical features as men, or
Right.
as much durability, or as
Thinner.
many pockets, or as good quality in the fabrics. And so then when Sarah started to kind of convey her experience and her connections in apparel, we were just kind of like, well, what if we made a better pair of work pants for us?
Right.
Because that's where we were struggling, and she just started to run with it more than I think we ever appreciated initially. We just thought we were going to get a pair of pants out of it, but Sarah's very good at what she does and has a global network that she's built up over decades in her professional experience. And so when she showed up, she had tons of denim swatches, and it was gorgeous denim from the best mill in the United States. And it had stretch, and it was beautiful to touch, and it was beautiful to feel. And then she took us to a pattern maker that she knew in town. It's this Portland Garment Factory, which is a women-run business, who are
Nice.
amazing, and they helped us get off the ground with that. And so it, in terms of momentum, things just in a very organic, iterative way, an interesting way, we were just kind of problem solving together collaboratively and looking at like these technical issues and working through patterning and talking about what we needed and what we wanted. And it was always from a lens of, we're women working and we need things having to do with strength and performance, but of course fit is really key. And so we just started to make a pant that was trying to have it all. Could we have it all in that?
Yeah. Well, and I can't think of, so my crossover work, the landscaping world is like, you've got the high aspect of like design and the price point you're charging for that. And then you're in the dirt. You're like with like the soil, the dirtiest
high
things
and
you can
low,
possibly
high
do.
Loading plants in your truck. Or,
Which is what makes it interesting.
Yeah, and in my world, where I needed work pants usually, I mean, I also do my own yard work, but where I needed work pants that had to have some versatility was sort of in behind the stage scenes, stagehand stuff, or supervising stage shows, being able to like crawl around on the floor and climb electrical stuff, and I would do sound at rock concerts and I would do my best to wear something where I had all the stuff I needed, but also I could like look as sexy as possible.
Yeah.
Because it's rock and roll.
Yeah.
It's like,
There is something about a look, and we often say like you can feel more empowered or more like you want to step into certain identities, whether they're work related or social or whatever, and clothing is what helps you either feel more like you're able to access that or less. Like clothing is empowering.
Yeah.
And the opposite. So I think we're kind of trying to tap into that piece in itself. Like what's the identity that you want when you put these pants on? Do you feel like you could go do your job or be your own boss or communicate with people or you know do technical work better?
Had any of you, because I hadn't had a shift where there were other females on the shift, because that's sometimes not happening. I hadn't had a shift where we weren't somehow grumpy in a moment of work about the pants we were wearing. We were either like they were too long, we were rolling them up, or we had to roll down this like the waistline, or we had to like stitch something or create something weird or we
you
didn't
wanted
have
to
pockets
put
at all.
something more than your lip gloss in your front pocket.
Or in the times when I had to like be audience facing, I would get some sort of dress pants, and they have like a decorative not pocket at all.
That seamed shut. Yeah.
Or even not even belt loops for a belt.
Yeah.
Right?
No, on and on.
So I haven't had a world where I had a day working where some woman wasn't complaining about their pants. Did you know that this was such a big deal when you were complaining about it?
That's a good question.
I think that was one of the moments of shift for us. Is it was kind of a side project that we were doing as a group, and it was a fun project for me.
Yeah.
And then I think for these guys as well. And then I think we started talking to other women in our community who had, aspects of physical labor in their job, and everyone was like, yeah, we're in the same boat. We need pants like that too. And as we were in this phase of development, we're like, okay, let's run 50 pants for 50 people and put it on a bunch of different people in different fields and see if it actually works for other people as well.
Yeah.
And that was probably a major shift in our how seriously we took it. Yeah, exactly, a turning point, because I think at that moment, as soon as we got feedback from these women that,
Resounding.
these are great, we love this, we'd
the
love
anecdotes, the frustration, about what they were wearing previously, and to put something on and, actually have real pockets that you could put your hands and things in, and some of the features that you need if you're a carpenter, where you can put a tape measure and it's not knocking against your knee, or the fact that, the fabric is strong enough it actually holds up for longer than some of these women do such rigorous hard jobs. They blow through cheap pants in a matter of weeks. So it was so much feedback and anecdotal frustration and hope for something better. It just captured everything that we had personally experienced.
There was kind of like a magic brewing, I think.
How long ago was this?
We did the 50 pants. No, we did 50 pants for 50 people.
2 years ago? 2.5 years ago?
2 years ago, we were in Nashville.
It was after that. Then it was
Nashville.
must have been about a year and a half ago that we
okay.
ran the 50 pants for 50 people, because we did an additional proto and then we started doing multiples. So a year and a half ago.
But like the excitement that started to build up, like when people, hey, I heard you're making a pant for your landscaping. That is so cool. I don't do landscaping. I do something else, or my sister or my girlfriend. And, I hear her complain all the time. Do you think that she could get in on this pant thing? And even the men were like, oh my gosh, that is such a great idea. I hear my wife or my girlfriend or my sister, she's not a landscaper and she's not this. She does this whole other, she's, a plumber or a drywall. I mean, it's just like all these things that we hadn't even thought of, or a field scientist. Yeah. And she wants pants. And it was like, it almost became its own thing. Like it started to be something much larger than Kate, Sarah, and Kyle making a little gardening pant. It was like, something is going on here. We just tapped into a major artery of something that is missing that women need and want really strongly. And like we don't have to do any convincing. We just need to make something great that we can all use and feel good about and have it be accessible.
Yeah.
And something is going on.
So how did it feel for the three of you together? So you'd said yes to this project. I don't know, how big was it when you were like, we'll do this 50, we'll try this out? Like how big was the dream at that point?
We were still landscaping. We thought we could kind of do both. So we had that. What do you think?
Yeah, I think I started to realize about that time that it was probably going to get more serious. I mean, I was still doing other work as well, but it was within probably a month or two of that we started realizing, okay, if we were serious about this, we need to do some sort of like pre-order or Kickstarter campaign. And let's, timing-wise, we felt like fall was a great introduction for the product because it really lends itself well to fall, winter, spring life cycle. And so working back from that, I think it started to pick up momentum pretty quickly after we did that field testing, got feedback, made some final revisions, and then we were pretty much moving straight into like, if we're going to make this a business and we want to, order production, we need to get some financing behind us.
I think Sarah's like ability to understand the industry made such a difference for us because Kyle and I are both very creative and artistic, and we like to have our fingers in lots of things. But Sarah's done it enough, she had the contacts with the factory and she has a lot of side conversations, and then she'll just kind of come back and quietly say, well, this is what, you can't just make 50 pairs of pants. I mean, we're doing that right now, but in reality, if we're serious about this, you need, it's called minimums, and a factory won't take you seriously, and it has to do with a lot of different factors, and there's capital involved, and quantities, and bulk, and how are you going to distribute. And so she...
and for some reason we kept going. I don't know.
All that.
Pants, right.
Just pants, I know, exactly. We're like, but pants for women. And Sarah's like, well, there's some realities. So she schooled us, and I think the other aspect is that we really enjoy working together. We work really well together, and so if there had been more conflict or difference of opinion, I think we respect each other's skills and backgrounds and insights a lot. And so when she said that, it was like, oh, okay, so we need to adapt to that situation, do we? And we had many, many times where we were like, okay, let's do this for 2 more months, and then at the 2-month point on the calendar, let's put the check-in point in, and like we'll look at the situation. But we really enjoyed it, and it was such a compelling exercise. It was such a needed thing for women. It had so much spirit and life to it. And Sarah, we were in good hands because Sarah's done it a lot before, and we have a lot of ideas about what we want to do. So we kept committing to it in a more and more serious way, kind of iteratively, and she kind of helped guide us through the wickets.
It's also kind of like labor where you look back and you think it wasn't so bad. I think when we were actually in that place, it was painful. It was challenging.
We've had some ups and downs.
It was a roller coaster of just, are we in this? How much money is this going to be? How are our families doing? Because we're putting so much attention on raising this little seed of an idea that is our time, our energy, money, and we were also totally freaking out. So looking back, it was very awesome and romantic and enjoyable.
We parked our landscaping biz too, which is where we also have a lot of passion. So that was, it was kind of, the writing was on the wall because we didn't have enough time in the day, and the landscaping business is really time and physically intensive.
Right.
So we just did it, but it was a loss and it was a change. So I think we also knew this is serious because we're putting aside the thing that got us going in the first place, and it's where there is a true love. And we're good at it, but we're parking it. So
I feel like probably January, February, okay, I'm jumping off the cliff and better fly.
Was this last January?
It was this past January.
Right, yeah. So getting the picture of what this leaping off the cliff was like. Are you willing to talk more about that moment? Because what did you all set aside, and was there support for that leap in each of your lives? In that moment, you're like, okay, we're doing this new thing fully.
I think for me, it was, I set aside some of the other, I've been working with other companies in New York, for example, and it was kind of setting aside some of those projects and going more full time towards this. And I think my leap of faith was really based on Kate and Kyle and feeling like these are people I could build a business with. By that time, I felt like we had real legs to this business. I felt like the opportunity was there. The market was really clamoring for this. The timing was really magical in a way because women are more and more moving into fields that have been traditionally male dominated, and so you don't get that magic that often with new businesses, and I felt like it was there. And then that coupled with having really two solid partners, again, I probably never would have done it on my own, but to have them, you know, working with me, I think, you know, it felt scary, of course. I was leaping off a cliff, but yeah, I think it was like, okay, let's do this. And I'm scared of heights, so I should add that as well.
That's fair. That's fair. So, okay, so one of the first reaches, so you did this 50 pairs of pants. I'm not sure how that went, but a more public reaching out would be doing the
We did
Kickstarter.
a pre-sale in the summer. Yeah, we went back and forth a lot about a Kickstarter, officially under Kickstarter name, Indiegogo, just, you know, crowd fundraising,
Yeah.
and which of course makes a lot of sense because, you know, you have to go buy 1,200 pairs of pants, and it's pretty hard to come up with that money on your own.
Yeah.
And so the crowd fundraising makes a lot of sense that way. But we, in the end, just decided to do it on our own, on our website, and it was still successful. The word got out, and that sort of kicked off. We were able to, you know, cover our first production order of these pants, and then take a little of that capital and put it back into, you know, everything's so interrelated. Then you need to do more marketing.
Right.
You need to sell that. We bought more than, you know, the pre-sale amount, so we had inventory so that we could actually host a website that carried product in real time. So yeah, it that pre-sale was also just another. Yeah, that was kind of. I think in January was when we could see the plan for what had to happen more or less in the next year, and the pre-sale was one of the big, hairy, scary moments.
Yeah.
And are we going to do it or not? And if we're going to do it, we need to really commit and put all of our energy into driving the success. And it was successful, and then that leads to the next thing. And, you know, you just, there you are, next. And it's just keeps kind of growing and having more and more tentacles. I think the other part that's been really motivating, and you think about like where the momentum and jumping off a cliff and feeling like are there supports for you. We did start to have more and more contacts through these groups of women we were working with, and we did get connected with the Oregon Tradeswomen Association, and they're one of many partners that we're starting to work with, and that in itself was also such a huge lift because you just start to get to know these communities of women and just organizations that are doing amazing things in your community, and you see the connection point, like they like our pants, they're the women that are suffering for the lack of a good tool, apparel that they can wear. They're giving us all kinds of interesting feedback that we're trying to get because we really are trying to have these conversations with customers about what are you looking for, what do you need, and what do you want in your apparel. And so just that, I think, just trying to, this really helped us give more shape to what we were doing. It had more of a, mission's maybe too strong a word, but it felt like it was bigger than us, and we could be part of a community and contribute to a conversation that's like in our culture right now.
Yeah.
Women entering the workforce and you know, trying to have more of a voice in general.
Well, this is funny because this is sort of where I was at with, I just want to solve one simple thing in the relationship of like women in the workforce. That's why I was just like, just pockets. There were two things that I was excited about. I wanted to no longer ever be in the middle of a conversation that had a joke about the toilet seat being up or down. Cultural shifts. I would be aware of cultural shifts. If none of the toilet seat jokes existed, if the world listened enough that that's just taken care of, and if I had pockets in my pants, I would be very sure that we could accomplish any of the other things that we might want in this world.
Wow. Awesome.
Simple.
So we're kind of halfway there, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're halfway there.
Great.
That I don't know. I think there are markers or tipping points that people can point at to see that, the shifts in
Something's
culture.
happening, and there's responsiveness to where there's like sticking points, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So okay, so there's momentum. Your first like crowdsourcing, reach out. That went really well. So like, where's I know today is Wednesday. Firstly, today is Wednesday.
Thanks for reminding us.
It's still Wednesday.
Still Wednesday.
Whenever people get to watch this, this is the day technically before Thanksgiving here in the U.S. We're in Portland in an amazing workshop. I'm Adrianne Gunn, and the two to my left.
I'm Kyle Begley.
Sarah DeLuca.
And Kate Day.
And we're in your workshop. This is where a lot of it began, yeah?
Yeah, we met in here a couple times a week, at least once a week. Every Tuesday at 9 a.m. I'm pretty sure was
Kind
our
of
regular.
a revolving door.
Yeah. So where is this journey now? I mean, we have pants on.
Yep.
We have the
So
pants
we
on.
got from like idea to like pants.
Are we
yes,
done?
we're wearing
We have the pants on, right?
we did it. So what's the things that you're excited about right now in your business? What's happening for you these days?
Well, so we launched our in-stock website at the end of September, and we've been selling through at sort of a light speed rate, almost too quickly, right? Because there's that constant push-pull of you don't want to create too much product and then not sell it. But we're facing the opposite problem right now, where we don't have enough product for the demand. So it's a good problem to have. But I think what's most exciting for me right now is the new product that we're putting into work. So we started with a slim fit, trying to create a slim fitting pant that was super durable and super functional, comfortable, looked good.
Yeah.
And then taking all those learnings and creating like a straight leg, a boot cut. And then we're looking at, an overall, we've got, tool belts, you name it. Sort of the line is growing.
Nice.
And our dialogue with our customer is growing. And so that sort of, like, what do you need? What do you want? How can we improve this? Would you like to field test this? That's been really exciting, and just kind of seeing where the product can go and how much is really out there in terms of opportunity. We're starting to look at FR fabrics for the welders, the electricians, the folks out there that need protection in their work. And so, that's
And it's continually evolving. Moxie Moss was the name that Kate and I came up with for our landscaping company. And so we've been referring to this workwear business as the same as Moxie Moss, but we can see just so many opportunities and so many ways that this can go that we're just really open to seeing how we evolve and just see what happens and how we can grow with keeping dialogue with our consumers and the ladies out there that have needs that maybe we don't even know about yet, but we're open to it. So
I feel like we're at that moment where like the hot air balloon is taking off and there's that little rope and like we're grabbing onto the rope and we're I feel that this moment is really about the takeoff, and ideally we're going to steer the balloon. Some days I feel like we're holding on.
You're in control,
Yeah.
but you realize the forces of nature are around you, and they're strong.
Yes.
But you're the driver.
but we're on the
so
right,
far.
but we're on the balloon.
You're on the
right.
And we're not falling.
Lifting, and
Not in
there's
the
going to
leap,
be a point
exactly, right?
where
We're actually on the balloon.
Oh, good. You're not just dangling at the bottom.
No.
Okay,
No,
you're on the
no, we're in the
today.
balloon.
Yeah, and the balloon is not stuck on the ground.
No.
The balloon is going
It's
quickly
going-
into the sky. So, yes.
For real.
Well, one of the things that I love that I'm hearing, because you're saying it and I'm hearing it, you're saying it from your face places, that essentially you had an idea of something that you were creating for yourselves, but then you answered the call and the need of what other women were asking for. And like some people don't know this, but there's a giant shift in like marketing and making, is that people used to just make something and then try to force feed it down, like everybody needs this, but you seem positioned to like really listen and create what people actually want, and you're flexible enough to adjust and be like, okay, we can do that. And so it's weird because it started as your pants, but how does it feel to be writing and wearing like the community's pants, like women's pants? Like what is that like?
I love that part of it. I mean,
Yeah.
I think that part of it is the most amazing. I mean, Kate was referring to the community, and I feel like that aspect of, instead of just designing something in a vacuum, but actually designing with your end consumer and providing them something that they need is the best part. And the women we work with are all like, they're so amazing. They're like totally, they're like you.
It's an honor.
They're
It's
totally
just an honor.
inspirational, and I think that energy of like, wow, look at what
We
she's
just feel
doing.
like we just have so much to learn. Like I can't really see it any other way. Like we're in a world and we're in communities and we appreciate listening and we appreciate dialogue, and it's just gotten beyond. We had that with each other, and then you took it another layer and talked to some friends and some people in your network, and then that, you know, then they're like, go talk to my sister, go talk to my cousin, go talk to my aunt, and it's just a natural process, and like every conversation is informative and interesting and compelling and powerful, and it's just wonderful to be like hooking into something and be a part of it and contribute. So it just feels like a natural. I wouldn't want to be doing it if it didn't have that. It's really neat to have a business that like is around product to some degree, but it's about a lot more. And it's been fun because we've been in this community, and it's such a supportive community in so many ways. It's been a really easy place, I'd say, to try and foster a business. People have been incredible. And now I'm trying to figure out how do we get the word out more. And we're going to New York next week, and the Oregon Tradeswomen Association that we know here, there's a comparable one in New York City, and so they pretty much hooked us up. When we went to that Chicago event, we met some people there, and they said, yeah, come on and meet us and talk to us. People would love to hear your story, and I know you want to hear from the women that are in our organization. They're incredible. And we're like, great, let's go have more conversations. Like,
it's kind of like, you know, with great power comes great responsibility. Like, to get back to your superhero you know, thing. Like, I just feel like we're honored to be the translators for women, especially women in the trades, to say, hey, I haven't been seen yet for what I need. And we're saying we're three ladies here that see you and want to make what you need, and we're listening. And one of our many hopes in this is to work with different tradeswomen as almost like guest designers and have them collaborate with us to make what women in that specific field or that specific trade need, and then make it. So have us be sort of the go-through for
we're like a channel.
Like a channel. It just feels really special and exciting and scary, but I just think we're honored to be in this position. And
I would echo that thought about being honored, and I think with the women we're working with, we've also realized we cannot just sort of revolutionize women's workwear, but we really want to like create a product that's better than anything out there. So
nice. Yeah.
If we're gonna do it, let's do the best we can.
And that, I think women are, here's my bias, right? But I think women often do it differently and maybe do it better in some cases. And so I think our goal with this company is not just to provide women with stellar workwear, but actually kind of raise the bar.
Heck yeah. Well, it's funny, as you were talking about being in connection and community and that you're all doing it together, if we're going to go for some stereotypes that might be a little true in the way that we've been cultured to like pay attention to, as women, to pay attention to the needs of many people and incorporate in that how we show up in the world and what we do, that is sometimes why we are better at the jobs when we're doing them, because we can take in information. We've been trained and socialized to hear everyone and be connected to everyone in a particular way. So in a sense, like,
there's this
you are channeling
this.
this. And that's sort of a gift of that a female company may have different. There might be great male channelers, I don't know, but it's something that
we're good at. We're good at it. Yeah, and we know we don't do nearly enough welding, practically any, to totally inform an amazing piece of welding apparel. So of course we have to bring women in that tell us. We can bring some of these critical like resources to bear to start to shape the thing, but then we need the input, and we love getting the input, and it makes everything better. So it's just like I think it's really built into the DNA of this young company. Like, of course we're gonna listen.
Well, the cool thing is you don't have to come up with all of it yourself.
No, it's a relief.
Actually, you would be shocked at how many women have altered this apparel that's out there to make it work for them. So it's beautiful. Like, we'll have Kay come in. She's a local welder, and she brings in a series of samples, but they're not really samples, right? They're just things.
They're her workwear.
She's a seamstress as well.
Okay.
And so she has all these like Carhartts and other brands that she's bought over the years, and she totally modified them to work for herself. And they're just amazing. They're like pieces of art.
Yep. Right.
So it's
Out of necessity, because
Yes.
they weren't strong enough or protective enough, but
Right.
then she's done it with this beauty and craft. So it's just like, okay, great, that's an amazing starting point. How can we replicate and scale that? Because it's
And have
it's
her
wonderful.
part of that process.
And
Right.
she deserves all the credit for being like, the person who's the creator behind it and informing the design.
But I mean, or that Melissa. We've been working with women
Oh,
winemakers
right, of
as
course.
well.
Yeah,
She's
that was
like,
so
oh
many
yeah, I'll bring
examples.
in the prototype that I created because
So
she
many
needed
women
like hands
have
to work
their own,
in.
like, oh, I actually have my own version
Exactly.
that I tried to make because it was sucking
doesn't
what I was
exist.
wearing.
Yeah,
I
I
had
didn't
to
make
go
it 'cause it doesn't
make
exist.
it, adapt it, staple it, tape it, sew it,
Yeah.
this, that, and the other. So we're so used to doing that. You just
Yeah.
adapt.
Yeah.
But then it's like, well, you know what? We all have a lot to do, and we'd like to be doing other things besides like adapting the thing that should just be empowering you to go work on what you really want to work on or focus on whatever it is that you really where your energy should go.
Heck yeah.
So
I do that all the time where I come up with an idea that it's something that I think should exist, and then my process is to I don't necessarily do it myself. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna light this candle and I'm gonna dance and sing a song if someone's going to make the thing. It's going to happen.
Just put the energy out there.
Right?
Yeah.
Because
Manifest.
someone will start to channel it.
Yeah.
And what's great is we're talking about channeling. I have friends that have channeled books, and I was like, man, that's so much easier than like writing one and thinking of it.
Right.
Why don't we
Yeah.
all channel the next thing we're supposed to do?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
well, then do it.
So this balloon is taking off, and how has it been? So you've shifted from your landscaping life. You've pulled away from some contracting things. So are you all in now? This
Yeah,
is
fully
your.
in.
This is.
Yeah.
That's right.
Good. We're all in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like,
What's it like?
yeah, what's it like? What are your lives? Like you're all in. How are your lives right now? How's that going? Like business is asking a lot of you. You've got the olive women who want pockets and pants to do the things in. Like, we need you. Do you also sleep?
I'm having the time of my life, actually.
Really?
I'm absolutely ecstatic about it. 23 hours of the day. And then the other hour, I'm calling Sarah or Kate saying,
Talk me off the cliff.
talk me off the cliff. I'm freaking out. Everything's wrong. What are we doing? Why? What? How did we get here? Who can I blame? But that's
Except for myself,
only
not
like
myself.
no. But that's a small percentage
Yes.
most days, right? So
Sweet.
it's very much. I mean, they say it's a roller coaster. Yep, and you're just kind of screaming the whole time.
Yeah.
But it's also super exhilarating, and,
Yeah.
and I feel personally like I'm supposed to be doing this. It feels very validating for where I am in my life, and as a mom, and as a wife, and as a woman, and someone who likes to be entrepreneurial and creative and variety, and collaborate. It's exciting.
Yeah.
But it's also really crazy. But I have a supportive family and supportive friends, and I'm pretty stoked. It's good. Yeah.
But before
me.
you two answer,
Yeah.
is there some super delicious like self-care thing that you're up to these days that helps
Yeah,
you with those
actually,
moments?
yeah, there is, and Kate actually turned me onto it. I think it was back in June. I pretty much was kind of having a hard time with all the transition, all the stuff going on, and she said, "Have you ever meditated before?" And I was like, "I don't have time."
Of course, I don't meditate
to
right now,
meditate.
so there you go.
You know, I don't even I'm gonna like just feel my breath on my nose skin, like. I have way too much to do. And plus, if I even stop to feel my breath, I'm gonna fall asleep. There's really no just sitting, But she suggested it more than once, talked it up pretty high. So I did look into that, and I do a little app on my phone, and I do put my little earbuds in, and I just follow a little meditation app, and I do sometimes fall asleep.
Yeah.
And that's okay. And other times I just feel protected. It's a very like cocoon feeling for me, and I am able to kind of turn my brain off for like a few seconds, and it's like the coldest, wonderful, thirst-quenching drink of water ever. So that and bubble baths, I would say, are my my coping mechanisms. My
awesome.
healthy coping mechanisms.
Oh, I love it. Thank you. That's such a good story. Sarah, how's this place in your life?
I think, professionally it comes at a good time, because I think you reach a certain point in your life where you're like, okay, there's a lot of, what you don't really want to put your life energy towards.
Yeah.
And it's fun to take sort of my cumulative experience in apparel development and put it towards something that I think is really worthwhile and isn't just another fashion line.
Right.
So that's really exciting and gratifying. And I don't think I've really reached the point that I've got good life balance. I feel a little bit out of control, honestly.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah, well.
And I don't have any good mechanisms for coping.
I'm just being really honest. It's fair. Yeah, like that's a phase two. That's like actually essential. Where I had a recent. I'm feeling great lately. I recently did this 40-day return to self, like daily self-care thing, luxurious as F, right? And I feel more supple. But like before I did that. In my world, I like relaxing. I once joked with a therapist who like, what do you do to relax? And I'm like, sometimes I notice that I've been staring at the wall for a really long time.
That's all I got.
Was that count? Fortunately, that's not a recent place for me, but yeah, like. Noticing noticing the frazzle of like, oh, is part of where the ideas come from when I do figure out a shift. So like owning up to like not being that is huge. Like congratulations for not being in that place, because I have a feeling that that's where you're gonna find the next one.
I hope so.
Yeah. Yeah, and also I'm also kind of saying that because my current therapist says it's good to. I'm gonna trust her, much like you trusted her with the like meditating. That's a thing. I don't know. You don't do it.
These messages keep coming up.
Yeah.
Right? People keep saying these common things.
Right. Like
really, really, I really have to go do that, but everyone keeps telling me, right? So there must be something behind it.
So even noticing, oh, I don't have the thing I want. That's part of the thing. To like, oh yeah, this is like noticing I want a different thing. Relish that. Evidently, that's a step. I'm told.
Yes.
I don't have a lot of practice of honoring that is a step, but recently it's been neat. Like, oh, I don't like this now.
Yeah.
That's
So you
a step.
can't act on something if you don't see it.
Right. Exactly.
So you have to see it first and come to terms with whatever it is, and then figure out if you want to act on it. And
Heck yeah.
yeah, there's stages, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so I'm gonna ask you again. So, like, what's your favorite, most exciting part then, of where you currently are?
Probably just seeing the opportunity of, like, all the opportunities. I mean, we were on the phone this morning with a mill that specializes in FR fabrics, and just a great guy. Thanks, Mario. And he was just like, I know you guys are really focused on the U.S. market right now, but don't forget about like your Latina sisters, because Brazil, Argentina, Mexico, you name it, we've got lots of women and they don't have anything that fits, and they would love your product. So I think, realizing that potential, and, it's beyond us. This is really about creating functional tools for women out there that are all like badass trying to get their jobs done. And so it's got to be my favorite part.
Yay. Nice.
Am I up?
Yeah. Refresher.
Cover the bases.
Sort of, right?
Yeah, I think it's been a really interesting personal journey. I have been lucky enough over the past 10 years. I have kids that are 7 and 11, 2 boys, and have really constructed my life over the past decade to revolve around their needs. Wasn't truly a stay-at-home mom per se, but always made sure that my jobs and my work was really flexible and honored what they needed, and it was a gift and it was fantastic. And now they're a little older, and this whole thing has evolved pretty quickly, and I've had to shift pretty significantly the investment and where my time is and where I physically am, and my bandwidth is not as much on them, and they've done an amazing job of being resilient through that. And I think it's been surprising how much I've enjoyed really throwing myself into work I feel really passionate about.
Yeah.
And I've done a lot of things in my life, a lot of manual labor and really interesting professional work and everything in between, and been a consultant and lived overseas. But I've never felt in any of that work, even though I was often qualified and educated for it and worked on great teams and so forth, as confident and had as much of a voice as I have now. Like, this is my third child.
Yeah.
And even though I don't come to it with the kind of technical expertise that Sarah does, I have so many opinions about the business that is mine and how I want it to thrive and breathe and grow. And so even though there are sacrifices that have been made and there's real changes going on in my life and my family's life, like, I feel really good about that. I'm honoring myself and surprised at how much of myself enjoys throwing myself into the work.
Yeah.
So that's been pretty cool. It has its ups and downs, but it's been very personally gratifying, and I've been kind of surprised at how much that's been the case.
Nice.
So I feel lucky. Yeah.
So in these moments, so the meditation you're not doing.
Meditation I'm not doing.
Are there things in your world that are helping create energy for you to continue waking up and saying yes?
Yeah, we've made some really good choices lately about how to run the business, and I think that's been helpful for a little more balance overall. And it's kind of cliche, but I've always really liked exercise. I've been a runner for a lot of my life, just a amateur runner, but it's kind of always been meditation for me. Mm-hmm. And I had some really bad injuries and the health problems over also kind of related in some ways to having kids and just my body changing, and haven't been able to access that as much. But I've worked really hard on some of the self-care and finding really good resources in Portland and kind of worked through it, and I'm getting back a little bit more to running and enjoying that. And it's just such a great way to burn off a little energy and get some fresh air and some oxygen. You work through things.
Yeah.
It is meditative in its own right. So that's kind of my priority for the next couple of months, is to have that be my little self-care piece.
Heck yeah, good times. So I'm curious now. So there's this momentum and there's a community. What is so people can buy your pants? That's a thing people can do. That helps support this forward. What are some of the biggest ways that people have helped you forward to continue this momentum? If we were talking to these people and they're like, oh my God, we just wanna something help you. How is the most useful way and amazing way that people can help share your vision and share this in the world right now?
Well, first of all, before we even answer that, I just want to say thank you to our Portland and extended business community of mentors and people who have offered us advice, whether it was a conference call or a cup of coffee, and just so generous with both how to start your business, how to plan your business, how to finance your business, what not to do. So I just want to take that moment, because I don't know if that would happen everywhere. I don't know if that's a Portland thing or what, but
Thank you.
We would not be here without you guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, huge.
Very good.
And I'd add on to that, what you're doing right now. Thank you. We get a chance. It's fun.
Yeah.
It really is a journey. There's so much personal growth and challenge in it, and it is fun and interesting to talk about, and it's fun to get that out for other people that are thinking about doing something different. And it takes a lot of luck, but it also just takes all these supports and people giving you the chance to kind of talk about it and share your lessons. And so that's what's helpful to us right now too, is we are really in this process of trying to get the word out. It is so fundamental to having a successful business. So marketing in all its forms and just connection points and communication and helping women know that we exist, and we're trying to be very authentic and honor the potential of it. And it's the community that will make it ultimately come to fruition. So it's that's sort of, I think, where I think about right now is like, just how do we make these connection points? Yeah.
Well, it was easy for me. It was easy for me to like, once I knew that I could actually try on the pants, because it was a hard for me. Like locally, it was a hard thing to be like, oh, I'm just gonna buy this, because
fit is so tricky.
Different. Yeah. So I got to come in and meet you and see the pants, put them on. I was like, oh my god, they actually fit. They actually work, and I can have these. And I just didn't like take them off for a couple weeks, and I wore them everywhere. I think I raked my lawn at like 1 a.m. because I'm like, I have to do something. And I was like guilty, and the leaves were gross.
A lot of women have said that. They just put them on and then they don't take them off for a really long time because they kind of meet all the marks, right?
And it's not every day that I like know that like people that I met and know made these pants that I've been like, my hands are in here, I could put stuff. Like not only did it like, was it this need that I had for a very long time, but then they were just great. I'm just wearing them to dinner parties.
Yay!
And I'm like,
awesome.
These are just my pants.
Yeah.
It's a different walk.
It's a different walk. It is. You just get a little pep in your step.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we want to hear. We want women to be empowered and like one less thing. To, who needs to change their pants? Right? Just have a pair of pants you can put on and wear it in all situations. So, yeah, it's good.
So what do you think is the like most helpful thing people if they want to like
I just say exactly, to join us would just be easiest way would probably just be to go to our website, moxiemoss.com. We're out there, and check out the products we currently have, and unfortunately currently sold out on a lot of, but
we're getting more.
Yeah, 2 weeks we'll be back in
production right now.
Time for the holidays.
There's a little subscriber section on there, and that way we can send our newsletter out telling you what we're working on, who we're working with, who our guest designers are, what trades we're currently focusing on, making something more specific or technical for, just to kind of join us on this journey and get the latest news of what we're working on, what we're doing. And of course, we've got the Instagram and the Facebook, and come check it out. We have a lot of fun with that, actually. And then you can always just email us directly too. Like, we like to talk. We are pretty, we try to respond within 24 hours. It is the three of us, and
we're trying to have really accommodating. We're just trying to treat everybody like we want to be treated.
Yep,
so
totally.
like someone, doesn't like the way something fits or it's the wrong size, like we're gonna make it work as much as we possibly can. We just want everyone to be like you. We just want you to. We want you to like it.
Yeah.
So,
and it is hard to buy a pair of pants online.
Yes.
And if you're not in Portland and you can't come visit us at the office, it's tricky, and we get that. And that's why we like to email so much, because sometimes we can help through email. Well, what size do you normally wear in a pair of jeans, and how tall are you, and how curvy, and waist, and all that. We can usually narrow it down pretty close. And then we do currently have free shipping. Currently, so that helps in hey, maybe I buy 2 and return the 1, or whatever. So but we're there to help as much as we can be. But we do hope to possibly be in retailers fall of 2018. So that's exciting. We're working hard towards that, and
that is a huge deal.
Am I missing anything?
Yeah, kind of basic.
Nice.
Yeah.
Just in case. So you were hinting at like a new next product. Is there one that you're willing to say is the next one? Because you said that you're working on. But
well,
do you know
we
which one
actually
is?
have a series of products that we're working on that kind of stagger throughout 2018.
Oh, cool.
We have our wholesale line, which is probably going to be at least 3 different styles, 3 different fabrics. So introducing more canvas, but again with stretch and durability, and a focus on fit. And then even within denim, offering multiple types of fits, because we knew from the beginning that one fit wasn't going to work for everybody. And so, but we had to start somewhere. So we started here, and now kind of building out that line. And then with the website, even earlier than fall 18, I think we're looking at doing some, great overall, maybe like a preview of a straight leg, but sort of for the painters out there that need like a lighter colorway.
Nice.
And then as Kyle mentioned this collab, one of our first collabs on a welder pant in FR fabric that we feel like will be just, really fun to work on and exciting for the welding community out there to build a product for them specifically. So
the website will always have first new products before things are in retail. So keeping an eye on the website is cool because things are going to keep popping there, and the pant line will really expand on there in pretty short time.
Yeah, and we might even have like limited collections of things.
Yeah.
So that's another good reason to keep a close eye because, it could be, here's a small offering and then we get the feedback on that and then we know who wants what and which fabric best. And, we just always want to collect those sort of data points to feedback so we're not just creating a bunch of, things that are going to sit. We want to make what people want and not be wasteful.
Well, and in that is an inherent testing process, and I think that's the beauty of online is we can put out a limited edition. It can be field tested by our customers, and then they can come back and be like, well, this was perfect except for this pocket was too small, or you love that fabric, but when I got out in the field, it didn't actually work for what I was trying to do. And so I think that kind of feedback then informs us, and then we can say, okay, for our wholesale accounts, let's create X product because it's been tried and true and tested by this group of women, and they've all come back and said, double thumbs up.
Totally.
So that kind of, I think, inherent in what we're trying to do. You can't really do it unless you're effectively testing it. So,
and to add to that, the little bit we've been doing this so far, the women that come back and say, hey, that might work for this, but for me, when I'm, wet up to my knees or the Barbary thorns are getting me, we could say, oh, we are thinking about developing something that might work for you. Would you like to test that for us?
Nice.
So we're trying to have relationships with people all over the nation that are giving us that feedback, and then we get enough of that feedback. It's like, okay, those are our 5 gals that are going to take this and put it to test and then give us feedback before we go further into development. So it's a real circle.
Yeah.
Positive feedback loop.
Heck yeah. Well, I was just thinking, so these pants are being made for women who are already in the professions, but as you were talking about the welding pants, I just remembered, anytime I take up a new craft or a hobby, I'm like, the most fun part of that sometimes
it's the gear.
is the gear and the accessories. I'm like,
yeah.
I kind of want to just buy the pants and then learn to weld.
Well, it's inspiring.
Right? Exactly.
It is.
Well,
It
that
is.
goes back to the original point around identity. You want to put something on and step into character, right? And feel like you can do it better, and you're enabled, and you have the power. Yeah.
So I want to just wear the welder pants because I want to get some badass attitude. Yeah.
Right?
I think it's gonna help me.
Oh, but just
Yeah.
in the pants.
Yeah.
Is that a flash dance thing?
It is
might
a little
be.
bit.
Hey,
It
come
is.
on,
Because,
yeah.
yes.
So that's if you want help, we've got CJ with cameras. If we need to film that for releasing your welder pants,
Great.
just,
You can have fire in the background. I can see it.
Yeah.
It's gonna be good, CJ.
And he plays the piano too.
Effects.
Maybe you can.
Perfect.
Some dramatic score as the flames rise.
Yeah.
And the
There
women
are
in the welder
warehouses
pants.
Yeah.
all over
Fine.
town.
Yes. We could just, are you saying we reenact Flashdance?
A little bit.
Because I am really there.
Right?
Yes.
No, I think that's.
I can see it actually.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
This is
And we
kind
got
of
all
talk
welding
viral.
hats and
Yes.
it's always actually. This might be super selfish as me. It's always actually been a dream of mine to do a choreographed angst dance in some warehouse space, because a lot of the 80s movies would have these angst dance, solo angst dance where you're and you flip.
Yeah.
So it
Everyone
could be
needs to do an
combo.
angst dance at some point, I think.
Yeah.
I
I think
could
you're
I
onto
can
something.
actually
Expressed.
do one right now.
do an angst dance right now. Is that the self-care you need?
I think it might be.
No,
it's okay.
It's an angst dance.
Oh, we can do that after, right?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
You're good.
Yeah, you might want to do that after.
Okay, so get in touch if for sure, whatever marketing strategy you had in mind when you're releasing the welder pants, that's good too.
Okay.
But if you wanted to
You
do
have something.
Yeah, no, I like
A
it.
little something.
Clearly, it's
Yes.
been
Fire
surpassed
and
by.
it's an idea.
It's just one
One of
to possibly
many.
consider.
To be
Yeah.
I like it.
Could
All
be
right.
fun.
Way fun.
Okay, so I think I think we may have done the thing. Do
Yeah.
you feel?
I
Do you feel
feel
like-
a sense of we've covered
I
a lot
feel
of
like-
bases.
Yeah.
Good.
I think they might know some stuff about
Maybe
you.
we should all stand up and put our hands in our pockets.
Yeah. I like it. Doing
Brilliant. Ready? Ready?
Uh-huh.
There.
Oh, even with gloves on. Oh, my microphone. Oh yeah, microphone.
Microphone. There's
I don't have
this
anywhere to put
pocket.
my pockets. I've got some
What is in my
Keep
pocket?
discovering more pocket stuff.
chapstick,
Nice.
pruners.
There's
Yeah.
one up here. There's a hidden,
There's some
hidden
Legos
little
in
one
here.
back
Yeah,
here.
you've got the hidden little one. Yours
Granola
is
bar.
a newer one. So you
I
get a
win.
couple more bells and whistles on yours
Nice.
than the old ones. Yeah. Well, thank you.
Thank
That was
you.
awesome.
You're awesome.
Microphone sounds
Oh, right.
Thanks very much.
Oh, thank you.
All right.
Well, that's how that went. Thanks for joining us on this episode. Thanks for watching, listening, I don't know, reading, imbibing, however you took this in. Thanks for being here. And if you really enjoyed it, I'd love it if you would do all of the things. Like, share, I don't know, ring a bell, bang a gong, tell a friend, and come back next time. I hope you had as much fun as I did.